מה יום? צופים, כן. We're live, guys.
Hi everyone.
לא הכנסתי אותם.
סלם את מיטול.
יאללה, אלון, time's up. 30 איש, אחי. טוב, יאללה, אני מכניס את כולם, English, action.
Hi everyone. Welcome to the Driders office. My name is Matan. Some of you might know me from the customer support. We're going to start in a few minutes. We're just setting up the little details, the final details. In the meantime, let's see where we work. Join me here, Yossi.
Hey, everyone.
This is the CEO, co-founder.
Happy to see you all. We're gonna wait a few minutes and give some people some time to hook up, and then we get some cool new demos here for you. And you'll get to see what we've been working on, and hopefully we'll have a great talk here and answer some of your questions regarding the process, regarding the status, regarding delays. Hope we'll have a quick chat. But I think let's start like in a few more minutes.
While we're waiting, is there any chance you guys could move a microphone a little closer so we can hear you a little better?
Sorry?
The microphone's pretty far away and it's kind of hard to hear you guys when you're talking. It's like you're way down in a tube somewhere.
Sure.
Thanks for the feedback.
We'll try to fix it. And talk louder.
That'll help.
Oh, so you can see the.
That's better?
Can you
Yes.
now hear me?
It's better once you guys get in front. I'm sure it'll be better. Thanks.
Perfect. Okay, I think we gave enough time for everyone to hook in, and hopefully they'll join in. This call is recorded, so if it gets a bit too long for you guys, don't worry about it. We're still here. I'm happy to see that we have a lot of friends joining up. So we'll start by just giving you a quick overview of where we're at, where the project is, where the units are, and how are we going about with production. Then we'll talk a bit about the process, and then we'll open it up for questions. if that's okay with you. So as you guys know, I'll start by first apologize for the delay. I know it's really sucks that we keep pushing the shipping date further into the future, and we had a very long and serious debate about whether we want to give a realistic shipping date or just give us enough time to not be needing to delay it again, and this is what we decided to do. So the October 1st is absolutely a red line that everything should be ready by then. I mean, there is just really no reason for any more delays, and I truly believe we'll ship it earlier. But still, we just want to, give people a solid date we can commit to, and then give them time to prepare, because some people are moving to a new place and are concerned about shipping and just have plans, birthdays. We just want to be as clear as possible on when will you get the units. So as I mentioned, I'm really sorry about the delay, but it was just crucial that we just have this a bit more time. I mean, it's a few months. Usually companies have like years of development. We're not a big team, but we're really doing the best we can to ensure that everything is in place. And soon you'll hear Alon and all of our technical issues and what we're actually struggling with day in, day out, just to make everything fit in the box and everything work. So I mean, it's not a cosmetic delay, right? It's not just that we want to make the box prettier. It's solid engineering, and when you do testing, if you don't find anything, that's a problem, right? So we had a bunch of units, a bunch of testing day in, day out for many users, and then we actually find issues that usually it's a good thing, and we cannot just look the other way and not fix it, and this is why it's creating some kind of a misalignment between what we initially thought the shipping date will be and what it is. But enough about that. I mean, we're truly, I mean, here we are. This is us. We'll show you the office in a bit. You'll see the sleeping bag. We're really busting our asses every day, trying to ship this thing. I mean, it's a huge challenge to ship the best dashcam in the world, and here it is. Here it is. We just need a bit more patience. So I hope you'll understand that. And I just want to give you a quick overview of where we are. So as you know, we already started the mold injection, the injection process, and the plastic injection is already started. We had some challenges with the aluminum chassis manufacturing, but we already solved that. I mean, there is just it's a different manufacturing process of plastic and aluminum, and certain adjustment had to be made to the molding. And then when you make adjustment to the molding, you have to make adjustment to the PCB, and then it's kind of a chain reaction that just takes you a whole round trip of changes to make it. But happy to say that we're past that, and all of those mechanical issues are long gone, and now we're only focusing on how can we scale it, production, molding design, and everything is basically, I mean, the ship is sailed. No more changes, no more mechanical changes, only production issues and production itself. Regarding the electronics and software, so the software, basically what we're internally calling Driders, is getting very mature. We have we have a side project. Basically, we have 150 users, 150,000 users using our app daily. And basically this amount of users allowed us to, proof test both the app and the APIs and internal software. And both the internal software we're doing here just basically made the software much more mature and robust. And basically this is one of the biggest biggest changes that Dryde have. I mean, on contrary to other dash cam manufacturers, because we actually make both the hardware and the software ourselves. That create challenges, but also gave us huge amount of flexibility. So as you saw, I mean, we're constantly publishing new features and new options that we're enabled. One of them, one interesting feature we've introduced is the accelerometer sensitivity. So most dash cam, or practically all of them, give you three options, right? High sensitivity, medium, or low, or and I mean, sometimes in some cases, in some vehicles, it's just not enough, and you want more granular support. So we've added a scale from 0 to 10, right? So just give you a more granular support. I mean, it looks like a small feature, and it wasn't too hard to implement. But since we have control over the software and the hardware, for us it was a no-brainer to add something like that. And those small things, you'll see them a lot in the product. Regarding cabling and packaging, this is also been finalized. You saw some pictures posted both on Kickstarter and on Facebook. Basically, we have the cabling ready. We've invested more into the cabling and made our own branded cables, which is great and adds some nice appeal, and it's easier to install. And we also finished the development and trail production of the fuse box adapter, which is a small adapter that basically you connect the USB-C cable on the one side and then to the fuse box on the other side. And for those of you who bought the rear camera, you get two of them, so you can basically hook them up independently. And as you know, they will sync via wireless. So I have the box right here. I showed you some pictures, and obviously I have the unit right here. Maybe I'll show it to you. This is the latest version. This version have all of the electronics inside, both cameras, the IR cut, and you see the IR window here. We have the button right here, and it's clicky. The radar is also inside. It's right about here, this place. So you will not be able to see it. It's behind the plastic. Alon will open it up in a bit and give you a walkthrough of everything. Here we have the cavity of the SIM card and the SD card, which are hidden behind the mount. And here on the back, we have the LED, the indicator, which is also had some issues with it, to say the least, right? And here is the USB-C cable port. So this is, we have only one port here. Basically, this is it. You can see that the joint is very flexible. It's rigid, but it will never move. I mean, never. No matter if you're like where you're driving, it's solid as rock. Awesome. So, Alon, would you like to?
Yes. First, I'll start by showing everyone all the versions and the design. Some of them are basically version 0 and 0.1 before we even started the Kickstarter. And it was during the time we thought about the spec and what we want to bring into this camera. So this is what you can see, the version 1 we made, which is a dual camera, a 4K front camera, and full HD rear internal camera with supercapacitors and GPS module, Type-C connector, and an SD card. Of course, all the other features that I mentioned, except the ability to connect to the car battery without the entire parking mode, no LTE modem, and basically a very, very stripped down version of what we have now. Further, we moved to the version 0.1, which we enhanced our capabilities and found let's say more manufacturing testing round. And then we started to really add the other features. So this is version 0.2, which is made to be connected to an LTE modem, which comes over here. And this is actually, you can see it right here on the camera. This is the first.
Maybe I'll bring it here.
Oh, this is the version 2 inside the case we made. One sad thing we didn't like about it is this over here. It's the lens of the lens mount and the lens height was too tall, and we really didn't like it. So we did a lot of research and studying and found the new vendors, and finally we came to this reduction, as you can see, which is very noticeable, and I think it would be much more easier to install in some kind of vehicles, maybe buses or SUVs with a more flat window. Okay, so I'll start with tearing down a unit for you to see the entire process we've made and how it looks from the inside. You can see this is our shell of the button, we call it, and this is the core board that we use. I'll disconnect the flex for more easier to see. 1 second. This is the final version, we call it version 0.5, which made a few changes, if you can see on the latest version before. We changed the board-to-board connector, we changed the connector towards the internal and external cameras to enable more signals and more sensors embedded inside them, and how to say it, to make the manufacturing process more feasible and less complicated. As you can maybe heard from our post, we had a lot of issues with our CPUs that didn't assemble properly. So a lot of them went through X-ray to really understand the process and how to make it work better, and we finally nailed that issue. So this was the core board, and this is now the LTE hat is inside here. So I'll just remove, I'll first remove the shell of the internal camera. As you can see, it has an IR cut mount, a lens, a shorter lens that was previously I showed you, an IR LED for internal light illumination, and an auto sensor for enabling and powering off and on the night vision. I'll remove it quickly. One of the issues we had on this module was the adjustment of the IR LED, infrared lighting, so it would be stable in the manner of thermal dissipation. So it has, we did a lot of fine tuning of the supplying voltage, and we finally came to a point where we got the performance we needed and compromised on the thermal dissipation.
I'm sorry, we can't hear the voice
We
anymore.
lost your audio.
Now,
Better, yes.
so one of the issues with this kind of, let's say, tight design is everything needs to fit and fit perfectly. So around the mechanics, as you can see, we really build the electronics around it, and the iterations we took us to finally nail the position by performance and by how to say it, appropriate location from the electronics and mechanics took us a bit time and complexity to achieve. And 1 second, I will disassemble
It's
this.
as easy to disassemble than it's to assemble it.
Yes. A minute.
I mean, it's worth mentioning that we're building everything ourselves. I mean, even the process and assembly instructions to the factory and working with the factory, we don't have like a supplier that we're contracted with, and that basically gives us a lot of more control over, you know, the quality and what do we actually ship at the end.
And also a complexity of to do all those things the best way we can. One of them is actually the flex. We had an issue with it from version from the previous version because it was too near to the hinge, and the PCB would cut off the flex cable. So in the latest version, it took us a really nasty layout to do, but we did this window here to enable a more smooth turning of the flex cable inside the hinge. And also the cable is custom made for our needs and by our spec and by our design. And this is also not the latest one because we made a shorter one, which is really now in final stages of production. So this is how the latest internal model looks. And now we'll switch to the external one, which contains a speaker, which is now assembled here, as you can see, and the radar model. If you can see over here, we did a bunch of radar models to really come to the point we got the performance we exactly want, because the entire parking mode is dependent on the radar model performance and how you will receive a notification for a real event with a picture, not just a notification that you can do anything about it. So it was really important to us to nail this feature and have it a really good one.
Just a side note, the only radar inside the dashcam today is by Thinkware, and it's like a box, like, I mean, maybe this size box, and it's an add-on you'll buy for $100. And Driders is the only one that has a radar that is built in for those purposes and looks as slim as it is.
And also this radar model you will find in the mini dashcam that we also will ship. So under the radar we hid the microphone, which has a hole over here for better hearing of the entire cabin. The 4K camera over here, and its flex cable. Okay, let's get all those things over here and continue to the latest part, which is the LTE module. Okay, as you can see, this is the aluminum chassis of our unit. It has a few adaptations we made for understanding how to do the mechanics better, and all the considerations of those cutting were made and the design changes made, and came to our new design, which is in production. Okay, put it over here. So now we can see our LTE module, which is based on Quactel module 4G, of course. We have the RTC battery over here, reverse polarity protection, two supercapacitors and our converters for operating the entire module, entire product on different kind of voltages over here, which enables us an 18 voltage input. We really like you to put in only 12 for a normal battery, but in order to make it more rigid or more stable over time, we didn't compromise on those things and decided to give a more range or dynamic, longer range of input for a better operation of the camera. So we'll disconnect the antennas. One second. And you can see the antennas are over here. And okay, I'll go through this design over here. We did another board to make our the cards insertion seamlessly and to make it more fine in the eye of the user and to be hidden under the bracket instead of doing other holes on the sides. So we did the other board over here to give another height so the entire shell over here could fit and enables us to enable us the card insertion smoothly and nicely over here. Over here you can see other power modules for the capacitors charging and the other modules inside the core. And that's it. This is the unit.
So as you can see, there's quite a bit of engineering involved. So I think we're gonna open up for questions. I mean, if anyone wants to talk, I don't think we're too many people. Just open the mic and let's try it this way.
So I got a question. You said that the wire is connected wirelessly, synchronizing between the rear and the front.
Yep.
Okay, so how reliable is that connection? Because I know that I guess a vehicle would be probably about 6 feet apart or whatever have you, but how reliable is it? And while it's connected, I guess it's reading or writing to the SD card, correct?
Yeah, so what we did with the rear camera is pretty unique in the market. So we're not actually transferring a live stream video from the rear to the front and basically record and saving it on the main unit. The rear camera has a storage of its own, and then basically it's recording on its own in high quality, and it's never transmitted to the main unit. When you open the app, basically the rear unit is connected to the main unit, and you basically get redirected into the server of the rear unit, and then you'll get the video. So for you as a user, it's transparent, and the files are actually stored on the unit. And this basically allows us to use simple TCP protocol that basically is lossless. And even if you have bad reception, it will only impact speed. It will not impact the integrity of the data. And basically in field tests we've made, it's working great. I mean, the Wi-Fi is very reliable, and I mean it's not reliable to use it to record continuous video, but it's very reliable to just download the video you want to, or download or playback to the cloud. And even when we upload to the cloud from the unit itself, worst case, the download speed will drop a bit and then will gradually increase. And then, I mean, it's basically, in our opinion, better designed than just to run a cable all the way up to the main unit and then use the same storage, use the same encoder of the main unit. and generate more heat. Hope that answered
So
that.
with it being a wireless connection, what kind of encryption are you using to transmit the feed between the rear and the front?
So basically, there's a mechanism that once you logged in into the app, the app knows who you are, and all the communication between the camera and the app is basically allowed only when you provide this access token. So we use HTTPS for communication between the unit and your phone, and basically, if you don't have this valid authorization token using your Droid account, the camera will reject your request, and you will not be able to connect to the camera, even if you somehow crack the Wi-Fi password, which will prompt you to update once you receive the unit. Even if you get access to the Wi-Fi, you will not be able to bypass the gateway because you don't have a valid access token, which is a token that's valid for a certain period of time. So once it's expired, even if you somehow manage to get it from a user, you will not be able to get it continuously. To get the
So
access.
you're using something like TLS 1.2 for that transmit and data in transmission, or data in movement.
The
Since
data
it's
is transferred.
HTTPS.
It's HTTPS, right?
Okay.
By HTTPS. So the data from your phone to the unit is encrypted, and it gives much more value when you're doing it for remote access, right? So when you're on your couch and trying to access it, this is where it gets important. But when you're at the car and you connect it to the Wi-Fi, we're using HTTP because you cannot use a HTTPS certificate on a local host. So you have to go through the internet, and that doesn't make any sense for us. So once you're connected locally, physically, you have to be physically near the dash cam, and then you connect to the unit. Then it's HTTP. And once you are using remote access, where there's real danger of man-in-the-middle attacks, it's obviously encrypted.
Do you have a hardware that you can show us for the rear camera?
Not yet. It's the latest version is in production, and it should be here very, very soon.
Oh, okay. So I know you said that it has its separate memory. So is there an SD card in the rear? Okay, so it's also in the rear.
Yes. Both.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
I can show you some pictures of it. Sorry, it's like this, but here's we call it Dried Mini. This is the core board of yeah. I mean, there is literally zero free space on this board.
6 type of vias, and the production took us a bit.
Yeah.
This was one of the issues. It took much more time because we need to pack a lot of our features in a very, very small form factor.
Okay.
So so I got a question about I guess you have the super capacitors on there, or is that just regular capacitors? How long? How long do you think it will still last with, I guess while the vehicle is off and it's not supplying any power, how long will it last?
It's actually been tested, and it's only supposed to maintain the unit several seconds to close the videos and to do a normal and safe shutdown. It's not there for another power source to be.
Okay, so it's just to make sure that the unit shuts down completely rather than just abruptly.
Yes, and closes the video files properly so you could use them later.
Okay, so so I actually ordered one, and I just want to know how I would be able to use it while the vehicle's parked? You know, like, is it just a USB bank or something that I could use?
This is one option, or you can to use a USB bank, or to use direct connection to the battery, to the car battery via our car battery fuse box adapter.
Okay, so it'll probably be something like a USB to some type of converter from, I guess it's 5 volts, right? The unit takes.
Okay,
Pictures,
we have the picture.
and also we have a prototype that you sent to us. 1 second.
Okay.
So the cable looks something like this.
Okay.
Something like this. So I mean, it's a female USB, and it's the other way is just the fuse box cable connector.
So the front one is
Like-
90, right? Like a 90-degree pin to go
Yeah,
into the
yeah.
front. Okay.
Here's a video of how this is connected, and then it creates
Okay.
a cool shape of something that is with some resemblance to the unit, which we believe is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. And so that cable is going to where? What you just showed me.
Going to the box, and the other way is going into your drive. And here we have the prototype.
So this is the original prototype fuse box, but we made it much more shorter to have a more easier or comfortable, quicker installation. So it will be about 15 centimeters, and we'll have 3 cables: one for the battery plus the ground of the vehicle and the ignition. And then you will have this Type-C socket, which will connect to the 5 meters or 3 meters cable of Type-C to Type-C with a 90-degree angle. That will go directly to the camera. And that's it.
Oh, okay.
And-
And we'll basically get one for each. Like if you have the rear and front, or you ordered it, you'll get one for each.
One for each.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
What's
That's a good idea.
What's the expected cable maximum length for the rear? Because, I know every car kind of varies in length, but
We're shipping the front unit with 3-meter cable, and the rear unit with 5-meter cable. And in case you have something is very out of scope and a huge vehicle, you would be able to use third-party USB-C, because it's simply a USB-C to USB-C cable. It is not recommended because power.
If you connect it to 12-volt power source and not 5-volt power source, it could go, and of course not expect any kind of data transmission for more than 5 meters, and only power. It could work until around 10 meters.
so
With-
with that said, I'm gonna be honest here. I could run. I've done car stereos, and I ran 15 meters or 5 meters of cabling through a car. I have a hatchback. It's got to go up through the car, from the fuse box up through the car, all the way to the rear of the car, up through the cabling in the door. Okay, it's got to actually go in the door. It has more than 5 meters, so 15 feet. Is there a possibility you guys could increase that length to around somewhere around 18 to 20, maybe 21 feet, which would be it's like 6 or 7 meters?
We haven't tested this kind of lengths, but one of the things that I showed briefly while demonstrating the unit is that we did a lot of engineering around the power supply. So it should work from 18 taps to around 4.5. So I think, it hasn't tested it yet, that it could work around, if you supply around 12 volts at the end, the power drop would be, I don't think it would be much significant for the unit not to operate. So I
So
think it
if,
could go
if I can summarize, we'll have to test for longer cable. And if it's something that is viable, we'll definitely offer them as something you could potentially buy and you know, just order it instead.
Yeah, only because, you know, with that being said, like, right, like, you know, it's a physical hatch, right? So my sorry, my window is on the trunk, and so that door has to move, and that adds extra feet. Whereas, like, you know, a sedan, it's inside the car. It doesn't really have to go through the cabling within the door, you know. So
By the way, and this is something that has to be said. In this kind of design, if you be able to find a power source that is not necessarily in the fuse box, that has both ignition and power and ground, you don't necessarily have to run the cable all the way into the fuse box. For
Okay.
trucks, that might be even easier installation than actually to make the effort. And I think that's one of the biggest advantages of this architecture is you don't have to run it all the way to the main unit, right? And then it kind of might make
what
it simple.
about a cable extension between your two cables where they connect from the one
Yeah.
from the fuse, you know, the one that at the fuse box versus the one with the micro USB?
mean,
You know, just adding an extension in there would kind of solve your problem rather than having multiple cables.
if the physics allow a longer cable, and this is what we have to test, that's
Right.
definitely one, just a USB-C extender.
Okay.
You can actually hear very well.
How reliable is the connection between the app and the device?
I'm sorry. Could you move closer to the mic?
I'll type it.
So I couldn't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
No, not so much.
You might want to type, and then I'll try to read it, and hopefully we'll.
Okay, I'll do that.
Well, while he's doing that, if you don't mind, does the rear camera also need to be connected to the ignition source, or can it just be connected to power and ground and it will shut down based on command from the front unit?
That's definitely a great feature. I mean, you can connect the rear camera to only power, and then when the main unit goes down, it will take it down as well by command.
This is the parking lot.
I mean, yeah, yeah. We have this feature named after you. Who was it? I mean, what's the name?
Ray, the Harwood effect. Yeah.
Hey,
So, because
I mean,
I've got the same issue that the other guy had. I've got a Prius, and what I didn't discover until the battery went bad in my Prius is that not the hybrid battery, but the regular 12-volt battery is in the back of the vehicle. So I could use a very short cable to connect the rear unit basically to the battery in the back, and then connect the front unit to battery plus ignition. And then when the one guy in front goes, oh, look, the ignition's gone, tells the guy in the back, and he shuts down.
I think the problem is if you have a constant power supply on the back, I think it's an option.
it's a brilliant feature. It's a brilliant feature, and it might save a lot of hassle into running the cable all the way to the back. And we didn't think about it, so thank you. I think that's just.
I did a little engineering in my younger days.
Thanks for the tip. I mean, no, seriously. I mean, it will save a lot of time to a lot of people. Yeah. And actually, I mean, this wasn't. It couldn't be possible just before we started the campaign and before we've added the microcontroller. But since we've added it, I mean, that just made a lot of sense. Perfect. Keep those ideas coming, guys. And one thing I have to say, if you think it's gonna delay production, it will not. It's a software update, don't worry.
So one other question, I have not seen the software. I've seen some of your cloud camera footage, and I'm wondering what options do you have for embedding data in the image? Can we get the speed? Do we get any other data that we can do? How flexible is that?
Sure. So in Drive, basically we have a bit of a different approach. I mean, usually cameras has timestamping, right? And then the timestamp is just put out on the video somewhere, disrupting some video, some data, and everything is just a bit of an old school. Biggest problem with dash cams is data integrity. So how could you prove or use it as an evidence and prove the video wasn't tampered with? And this is one of the hidden features we have at Drive. Is basically all videos have an MD5 checksum, basically a signature that validates that this video was taken by the camera. And once you get it out, you can calculate this checksum yourself and basically validate against our checksum if the video is the same. And this basically gives us a way to prove that the metadata we provide that can contain a lot more information like route, speed, heading, obviously timestamp, in a certified way that you can provide to, for example, a judge or anything like that. And we also give you a kind of a report you can export and print where everything is there. So if you have a video you upload it to the cloud, just share it to the cloud, and then you'll get this report with all the security measures baked right inside. And we believe this is much better than timestamping. If for some reason we'll find out that this doesn't work and some countries doesn't accept it and people need timestamp, we'll just turn it off with a switch, publish a software update, and you'll get timestamping.
Can I have another question?
Sure.
I'm not sure if you answered it before because I had a problem in the connection. Would you say now the main problem with the delays, is it with the device itself? Is there something that still need to be tested 100% with the device? Or is it just logistic delays and things with the logistics of the production process?
The logistics effect, with the say more about that.
As you probably know, COVID is still on everywhere in the world, and in China, they're a little strict about it. So every time they go into lockdowns, so they can't progress with our manufacturing, and there's also a lack of IC chips in the whole world. So, but don't worry about that. We got everything that we need. It just took a lot of time to get those, and then you need to get those and to validate them and to test them and to see that everything works just fine. So the logistics were a problem for us as well, but unfortunately not the only problem.
I mean, truth to be told, we have delays because we found some issues we needed to fix, and we just decided we will not compromise on the quality of this product. And I think we're in the best position the company could ever be in, and just to compromise it over a month or two, or even 6, in my view, is just crazy and doesn't worth it to send something with issues we know are in there. And although it's very painful and we get a lot of heat for it, I promise you, when someone gets a bad design or bad engineered product, it's much more painful than a delay. And although it's very hard to set up with the pressures, we just agreed that we will not ship a bad unit. So when we find something we need to fix, or we find something we can improve, we don't think twice. We take a big breath and we go for it. That's it.
I agree with you. That's the right approach, even though it's disappointing to keep waiting, but it's preferable to wait a little bit longer and get a perfect device.
It's not because we're lazy or we're just busy gassing our Lamborghini.
But my question was, right now, I know that quality and problems with the device was a delay in the past, but this the latest delay now, is it still due to some things you found that you need to improve, or everything is improved and working perfectly, and now it's only about the production line delays?
Definitely. Now we're at a position where all the components are finalized, PCB is finalized, software, everything is finalized, and we're focusing entirely on production, because we have a pretty big batch, and moldings and design and logistics. But this process started really. I mean, we've finalized everything 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and then we started to only work on production related stuff. No more design, no more engineering, and hopefully we'll keep it that way, and we'll not find anything major that will prevent us from shipping on time.
Another issue we have around logistics and manufacturing, that is we can't travel to China. We want to go there and to see and to really, it was an issue here a lot of time, and a dilemma if we could afford to go to a lockdown in China for 20 days to accompany the manufacturing and speed up the process. But it always it was, how to say, high cost, very, very high cost, or it could consume a lot of engineering time that we could take into the product. It was also a problem we had to face, which before COVID wasn't existing anyway. But last week we actually found, we have a guy that is part of our team that went into a few of the factories and did the tour to see everything is going as expected and as planned, and we also got foot on the ground for that to solve that too.
I have a question. You mentioned in your May update that you're upgrading all the rear cameras to have internal radars for free. Are there any plans of offering compensation for users who bought other cameras? I, for example, have the dual camera, which means the regular camera plus an internal one. I don't have the rear one. I purchased that last November, I think, which it was very, very appealing. However, 9 months after, it's a bit less. So do you have any plans of extending the compensation plan?
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were disconnected a bit, but I think if your question was, do you get any compensation if you order another Drive 4K for the rear? So here's the deal. Initially, we didn't plan to have a radar module on the rear camera, and once we understand we're slipping, we wanted to give something that everyone could enjoy. And I mean, it was kind of a request number one, and pretty obvious to include it. And it wasn't a big amount that big of a change for us. So we did it, and obviously it cost quite a bit. And at the end of the day, we're still a business trying to survive. And even though you see that we raised something that looks like a big number, trust me, we're not getting too rich from this campaign. And obviously, we're still committed. But for the question, what do we do with users that have the rear unit? So the rear unit, the main unit is 4K, and it has better heat resistance. It has internal storage. It just a bit some kind of a premium design that once you have it in the back, you just enjoy better connectivity because it has 5 gigahertz, and you get better video quality. You get 4K. And then just a better device, which costs a bit more. I mean, it's not only the radar. The rear unit is also, as you saw, great engineering, but it's made out of plastic, doesn't have internal storage, and it's shooting at full HD. So it has 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, which for those specs is great, right? But it is still, there are key differences between these two units. And then I don't think, even though it's kind of a bummer that you bought another unit, you still get something that's marginally better than just going with the rear camera. And I mean, if this answer still doesn't satisfy you, just email us and we'll see what we can do.
Right, thank you.
So a quick question for you. What have you learned from the Dried Zero product, and what have you improved on with this device? I've heard some of the improvements,
Could you
obviously.
make it tight because we can't hear you so well.
It sounds like it's more on your guys' side, just because we're able to hear everyone clearly.
Second.
Okay, can you hear me right now?
Yes, we can hear you. Are you able to hear us?
Yeah.
All right.
Right. Yeah. The question was, what have you learned from the Dried Zero product, and what have you improved upon for this device? So obviously we've shown several improvements here on this product, but what are the big things that you've learned from previous product developments and this one, and what we'll see coming forward here?
That's a great question. I can talk for hours, guys. So if you have dinner, go get it. So Dried Zero was our first, well, it was our actually second, but the first attempt that we actually went into production, shipped something, first time ever for the team. And what we initially thought is if we can somehow white label the electronics to a company that specializes in electronics for dash cams, and we only covered the app, cloud, and all other aspects, we will be able to some kind of bypass the hard process of engineering the PCBs and the electronics and try to ship it that way. And that actually worked because obviously we shipped the product. But one big issue with it is flexibility. So you need to think, if I want to add, for example, the radar at the Dried Zero, it was just, it wasn't possible. Because if you go to this vendor, you say, okay, I want a radar for motion detection, it just unrealistic to get it done from Chinese suppliers and manufacturers, just really unrealistic. For example, we wanted to add Bluetooth in Dried Zero. When you press the button, there is an API on iOS and Android that will able to wake up the camera, the app on background, and we just couldn't get the message out. Why do we need Bluetooth, and how to how to connect it, and what are characteristics needed? It just wasn't possible. And if we don't control every part of the product, we can't make the best product. And this is why we've started from scratch and designed everything anew, both firmware and hardware. from scratch. I think that's the number one lesson. Obviously, there are many lessons. I mean, we can take the simplest one that actually cost us a lot of money, is packaging. So Dry Zero was packaged in this box, which looks small, but it really not really small. And all the cables were here, and we shipped 2 cables, one for the fuse box cable and one for USB cable, and that added more weight to the box. And the box was big, and that cost us a lot of money. And obviously, when you get it, you don't really care. I mean, the box is a box. You use it, you throw it away, that's it. This time, we learned our lesson. We made a small box. We had 1 cable. We made a small adapter for the fuse box. So 1 cable instead of 2. The box is 60% smaller, right? And everything is still in here. But I mean, that's just, pure experience, and we save a lot of money for it. Obviously, you don't care, but this is something I've learned the hard way. More lessons. I really think that control over the process is key when you try to create something new. So if you make the same moves that everybody else is making, you're making pretty much the same product, even if you design it yourself and try to like jump around all the deficiencies. But I mean, really going in deep and designing everything and use the best, the best the technology can offer. For example, 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi is pretty rare in the dashcam world. And when we try to add 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi in Dry Zero, I mean, we hit a wall. And here it was a no-brainer, and the speed actually improved by what, 5, a factor of 5 or 6 faster. And when you're dealing with 4K, clearly it's a big deal, right? And for example, I'll give you the example of the microcontroller we've added. When we before we launched the Kickstarter, we didn't plan for it. And when we launched the Kickstarter, it was a success. We understood, okay, we have a bit more room to, go into the details. And we actually got a feedback from some people about only communicating with the rear camera when it goes to parking mode. Something that you guys mentioned today. I mean, that was a real pain point. And when we started to think how we'll fix it, eventually we came to a realization that we need Bluetooth in both of them, and then the path to microcontroller was pretty small. And that process is just can't be done when you have a third-party vendor that do something like that. And same goes to your feedback today. One of you guys offered a great feature, for us. And because the team is here. You saw we just communicated without words, and we understand that, okay, we can do that. And that's really priceless when dealing with such complex technology. I think that's the most, the main thing I take from Dry Zero.
There have been several questions about the application. Have you had a chance to start digging into the software and app dev side of things as far as addressing some of the complaints on the Android Play Store or the iOS App Store?
Yeah, so I'll should intro what's the Dried app and what's up with that. So the Dried app basically is a universal app that can connect to 16 different dashcam models, not ours. Obviously, it can connect to Dry Zero and Dry 4K, but it also connects to Xiaomi cameras and other vendors. And this is something we've started with for maybe four years ago. And the problem with it is we're not officially supported by those dashcam, and sometimes they're releasing a new version and then the app really doesn't connect to it. So I mean, it's not our software on the other side, and that's why some people get frustrated. And so basically, this is the main reason why you might see some bad reviews on it. What we're planning to do in the future is just move away from that direction and have Dried app connect only to Dried enabled cameras. So we have some vendors, we will talk about it, later on this year, that implemented something we call Dried Core, which is a small binary program that runs inside the dashcam and basically operates the whole APIs and all the communications with the dashcam. And then basically those vendors can enjoy the Reach app Dried offers.
Do you expect that you'll release a new application when the newest Dried camera?
No, I think it will be the same app, only will gradually remove support for third-party dashcams, and then basically the app is still there. It's great. It's feature-rich. It was battle tested by over 150,000 users. There's no reason to make a new app.
So it sounds like for those of us wanting to get a head start, we should download and install the Dried Universal Web Dashcam Viewer and use that to get ready.
You can definitely do that, right?
Thank you.
Someone had a question, wasn't me, but they said, can we have some better way to support this time and not in the way as it was for Dried Zero?
Better support?
Yeah, and not like the way of Dried Zero.
Look, I mean, we're really doing the best we can to support each and every user. We have the forum that you must know, and if you go and scroll back, there is literally no post without a comment. With that said, today we have greater control on, the ability to fix bugs in the firmware and to maneuver it. So I'm positively sure that this time around it will be much smoother ride when it ships.
And I think my question is kind of as far as keeping up with, I wouldn't just say marketing, but like day to day, if you guys want to grow, I think some great aspects, I've seen this at Facebook page. It's very lightweight thing, it needs a lot more posts, starting like an Instagram of kind of your process that you've gone through, and starting to keep more on like a weekly or, I wouldn't say daily, because I understand you guys are very busy, but more on a weekly basis of updating your progress is just going to get you guys' name out there. And I think that's where a lot of this frustration is coming from is, I know you guys have the Facebook and you guys are posting to it somewhat frequently, but it seems to be most of the Kickstarter or the Indiegogo pages is where you're really interacting with users or answering their questions. I mean, in my personal opinion, I'd like to see that more on more of the social media platforms. I don't really care for Twitter, being honest, but Instagram, I think, is really going to get your name out there and start that.
Definitely an area we can improve, and I mean, this is something you should keep an eye on.
Sounds good.
I guess I'd echo Jake's thought is that the communication, I think, has been good, but perhaps not quite as frequent. And when you have bad news, you don't want to communicate very frequently, but sometimes a little bit more will help. And I like the fact that you are kind of getting control of your own ecosystem now, and that will make development and updates and that sort of thing better, and kind of shedding that third-party market stuff. I see that being a big benefit for you guys, having both a software product and a hardware product that really is sort of, leading edge. I did have a small technical question, and that is, if you're going over the cellular network, does it always transmit 4K images, or does it downsample and save on bandwidth?
No, so at the moment we stream full resolution. And that basically is something we're looking into fixing. It's quite a bit of a challenge, because some cameras actually save 2 variations of the same video, and then you're missing out on the buffer. What we've been, obviously, we're not a fan of that. And for example, I mean, if we just off topic a bit and go into thumbnails, right, which we believe is a way better experience when you have the preview thumbnail of the video. We've actually spent a lot of engineering into transitioning into the WebP format, which actually saves 60% more storage, and then that made sense for us. So what we're looking into regarding the streaming is something called HLS, which basically is an Apple protocol basically that could dynamically set the resolution dynamically according to the client's request. So this way we can actually make this in real time and drop the resolution to save on your data plan. But this is still something that we're looking into, and hopefully we'll release it in the future update.
And it sounds to me like, because I haven't seen the details, that it doesn't transmit everything, but once I pull into the driveway and it gets connected to the Wi-Fi, it'll upload everything that it needs to upload.
So we have basically something we call offloading, that you can hook up your home Wi-Fi and then choose to upload videos once you get back home. But the cellular is still key in order to get remote access, because when you go into parking mode, it goes to sleep, and the only way you can wake it up is using the cellular model. And the only time we use the cellular package is once you upload something to the cloud. So once you press the button, the video will be shared. We're not uploading constantly to the cloud every minute. Everything is kept on your device until you share something.
Okay, good. Thanks. Appreciate that.
So when you're talking about the cellular module, so it'll know. So I think my question is, it's going to notify your phone if the parking mode is set off, correct? Like, yeah. So if that using the cellular module, right?
Right. You'll get a beautiful notification with the thumbnail, so you can immediately preview. I mean, if something just hit your car or anything like that, and when you press it, you'll immediately get the live feed, so you can see what's happening around your car in real time.
Okay, cool.
Now, if you have a question, guys, just feel free to pick up, and I'll read the chat a bit, because we have a ton of questions here. But feel free to just ask anything. I'll find something interesting here.
You made the comment earlier that there is a support forum. There's somebody in the chat who is saying, can we have a forum instead? You might want to provide more detail on that for that user.
So we basically have a support forum. It's on dry.io/forum. It's been up for 4 years. It has a huge amount of information on it. And it basically is a place where directing people to get support, and then someone, mostly us, it's one way for us to actually learn about problems, and not just fix a problem, just learn and have feel it on our skin when someone is not getting around. And so you can go to the forum. We have a rich search there. You can search for something, and we see that the number of support requests drops when people ask, and there is a rich communication there. People just see it and get the problem fixed. But if it's not fixed, actually inside the app, when you have an error, right, something doesn't connect, or you have an internal error inside the app, it will prompt you to talk to a human. When you press on it, it will post something on the forum with the metadata of the error. So once we open the the thread, we actually get more information about what happened, and it's easier for us to help.
And then someone else had a question about kind of the SD requirements or the SD card requirements that you're, able to put in both, I would say the front and the rear.
Yeah, so we use, and that's one great advantage over other competitors. We use, we can support cards up to 1 terabyte, and this is proven and tested here in the office. We tested both 512 gigabytes and 1 terabyte cards work perfectly. The reason we allow it and the competitors not allow it is they use a file system format for Windows. It's like ext, and we use ext4.
Think
It's I'm having and Windows is FAT30. No, it's FAT. Okay, sorry. So they use FAT32, which have a limit of 32 gigabytes, and this is why most dashcam will support up to 32 gigabytes. Drive 0 as well, by the way. And we use ext4 format that basically support up to it's a big number. So there are no actually cards for it. So and the reason we do it because you should only access it via the app, and then when you download it, there's no problem. It was a problem when people took their SD card and put them into the Windows machine. It didn't work. So you should know about it. So we support up to 1 terabyte cards officially.
What about different speeds of SD cards?
Yeah, so that's important. But usually the high-end cards are all Cat 10 and above. So you'll not get a low performance card for high capacity, but also don't use a super cheap card that you found on eBay, because eventually it will just stop working. But one more cool feature about Driders is we have internal storage in all of our units. The increased capacity units have obviously 128 gigabytes, but all models have at least 2 gigabytes of internal storage. So even if you have a faulty SD card and you have an accident, you'll just have a smaller buffer. And that's very important, because even if, mostly you drive with your card, nothing, you don't get any warning. And when something happens, it's always not working. And this architecture will ensure that no matter what, you'll always have some kind of a buffer.
Just remember to push the button. This is important.
It will save it on impact.
So every time we have to push the button?
No.
Like every time we have an impact?
You see what you did? So when you see something, someone across you, or you see some cute puppies, or I don't know, something you want to save, you press the button, the video is saved, uploaded to the cloud, and you can use it later, share it. I mean, it's safe. If you get into an accident and it's trigger the accelerometer, the G sensor, it will be the same logic. It will be automatically saved and uploaded to the cloud. So if you, God forbid, got into an accident, you just worry about keeping yourself safe. It will automatically save it and upload it to the cloud automatically.
Got it. Thanks.
Quick follow-up question on the SD card. Does it come with the SD card, or is that something we have to supply?
No, it doesn't come with an SD card. Those of you who actually upgraded into the internal storage, clearly it's embedded into the device, but the SD card is something you'll have to find.
Okay. And there's one question in the chat, looks like to be from Hebrew, and I pasted it into Google Translate. It says, when the vehicle is parked, does the rear camera also have a motion sensor, or does it work all the time or go into action during a blow?
Yeah, so the rear camera is connected constantly via Bluetooth to the front unit, and this basically allows us to wake it up when the front unit wakes up. And now the rear camera has a radar, so once someone gets into the range of the rear camera radar, it will wake the front unit up. So any unit can wake the system up, right? And once you get into an impact and only one camera detects something, it will automatically take the video from the rear camera and put it into the cloud. So I mean, they're just working as one camera, only connected via wireless.
And are your cameras still at the video resolution of 30 frames per second for 4K?
Yeah.
Okay.
Both.
And you're still using, go ahead.
And the internal is full HD, and they're both working simultaneously. That's important.
Okay. And you're still using the IMX 415 for the front camera?
Right. And the night vision is amazing, amazing. And I mean, we'll post some pictures maybe a bit later. But I mean, the internals, I mean, the external sensor, we didn't do anything. We just take the best sensor money can buy and put it, and it just works brilliantly. I have no idea what Sony made there, but it's really something else. What we did with the internal camera was pretty great, because we used basically an active IR cut, and then when it's night, it's just move and allows more infrared light to go into the sensor, and then the image quality at night is just amazing. We had a test the other day when we're driving at a freeway. There is no light. I mean, if you want to know what the camera sees without the fancy electronics, is just, you can close your eyes and this is what it saw. When we turn on, the night vision, maybe I have this photo, I'll show you. The picture is just amazing. I think we actually shared something on Facebook regarding this night vision. It's truly something else.
Is there any, not obviously not now, but in the future, is there any chance of you guys changing to more of a 60 frames per second for 4K?
That's basically a chip limit. So we would love to offer,
Okay.
but this
Got it.
CPU doesn't support anything else. What? You can talk about it.
We had the idea to move to 60 FPS while driving faster, but not in 4K, to capture events that can't be captured when you're driving this fast. So this is a feature what we thought about.
So like downgrading to like 1080 or something, right?
Yeah,
For
just
60 frames.
downgrading to 8P. Right, and then just basically get more details when it matters.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
So the internal chip's capable of doing that now?
No.
Yeah. It can do 4K at 30 FPS, and it can do full HD at 60. Right.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Here's the night vision picture.
And this is only on the inside, or is it
sure.
also
I mean,
for the external facing?
outside this stack doesn't work, but for the outside,
the windshield will take all the lights towards that.
No, for the outside, we just use the best sensor money can buy, and I'll just show you some demo in a bit.
No worries.
Yeah, if you can put some of
Yeah,
that
I
on
think,
Facebook or something, that'd be great.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that
Sell
was,
your guys' selves. I think that's the hardest part you guys are having right now. Is you guys need to sell yourselves, right? Post what you're showing us online. It sells it more, right? Hey, like, even though we're in this production phase, we're still actively working with it. Even if it's for your own car, right? Or someone that you have testing it. I think we all, as the investors here, want to see that. So
sure. So here's I'm sorry, I'm showing you, like, I mean, it's
okay.
not as, but this is the video quality. We'll post it later on Facebook or something like that. But the video quality is just amazing. Yeah, we have the glare. You can actually see the license plating and everything.
Okay.
Just an amazing sensor. I have no idea what they did there. You want to show? Yeah. Okay. So Alon is eager to show you the live video. So here's the camera. This is what it's recording, and you can see how the delays are pretty crazy. So it's under 100 milliseconds of a delay. Take into account you're seeing this over Zoom and yeah,
Pretty bad conditions.
but it's really something else. It's really something else. We're a small team, but we really try to make the best tech decision on everything we touch. So even if it's live streaming, which is pretty basic feature, just you're just supposed to use it once, right? To adjust your camera, and then maybe to open and see what's who's around your car. But we just wanted to make it state of the art, something what current day technology can offer, and that's what we did.
I have a quick question. Do you have people actively testing the unit in their own vehicles at the moment?
Sure.
What locations do you have them?
All of them are currently here around the offices, either our employees or friends and families. Trust me, it's very hot here. So we've been testing the every step of the way of the camera for the past year. So it's not just we finish design then we go to test. It's not really like that. So at the moment we have around 15 to 20 units driving and providing feedback and tests and stuff like that.
And where are you guys located?
You said very hot. How hot's very hot?
How hot's very hot?
Because I'm in Phoenix and it'll be 116 tomorrow.
Okay, let's do.
So we'll not ship you the unit tomorrow, right? It's a good idea. If by the way, if you ask, we're based in Israel, so it's pretty hot in here as well.
Okay. So the video you showed, though, because it looked like those were like European plates, where I know a lot of on Indiegogo it says like you guys are based out of like Palo Alto or somewhere in the Bay Area in California.
Yeah. We
So
basically we were split some way around the past years, and then basically just decided to join forces and work together out of the same office, all of us, for this period of time.
Okay. And you mentioned you're going to show us around the office in a bit.
Sorry?
You guys had mentioned you guys are going to show us around the office in a bit.
Sure. I mean, if there are no more questions, let's go for a tour. We have a nice office, I can tell you that. So let's start from here. So I mean, that's the boring part. We have like meeting room and stuff like that. That's the most cool thing about our office. We have our logo here. We have a bunch of stuff like that. This is our learning box. So we have all the dash cam you could imagine for research and integration for the app and stuff like that. This is a secret project we will not talk about. We have some inspiration here. The Macintosh initial, the first Macintosh ever. The first. I don't know what Macintosh is. You need my inspiration. We have some more, engineering spots. We have working his ass off. Great kid. More engineering, more screens. This is Alon's case. Don't go here too much. We have like this Microsoft scopes, engineering stuff. Real deal. We have the 3D printing area there. We use it a lot to just test, figure things out, and basically this is it. Here's the board of bugs, basically. So it's pretty filled. We also obviously use Git, but sometimes it's just better to have it in front of your eyes. And I think one of the coolest part of the office is, well, I'm not sure you've seen, but this is something we call the idea board. Here is basically a board of all the cool ideas that someone's came up with. The only rule is it has to be something that goes into the product. It can't be a technology no one uses, and you cannot nominate yourself. So at the moment, Alon is leading with 8 points. I have 5, and then Shiran has 4. And then, you know, we have other people that are losing the game.
Such as me.
Cool. So, yeah.
If I may ask for more questions. So you guys, as part of you guys' Dried Cloud, where are you guys uploading them? Are you guys using physical servers, or are you guys using like, a cloud solution like AWS, Azure, GCP?
Yeah, we're hosting on GCP.
Okay. And that's going to be what it's going to be for the Dried 4K?
Sure. I mean, that's the architecture now, but I mean, we might migrate this to something that be more cost effective for us. But for
Sure,
the moment,
absolutely.
it's working great for us.
Okay.
Okay. So unless we got some more question, I think we could wrap this up. I had a lot of fun talking with you guys, and
What
I hope
app is it again for the Droid? Is it Droid 0?
Sorry.
So for the app to connect to the cameras, is it Droid 0 or is it like Droid
No,
Universal?
you can
That's all I
just
see.
search for Dried, and then the app name is Dried Universal. But when you search for Dried, it will be the first option.
Oh, okay, so it's not Droid 0, because I did hear something about Droid 0. Is that the next version of it, or?
No, Dried 0 was our previous version.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it. All right, thanks.
Okay, so unless we have some new and important question, I'll wrap this talk up. And I want to say thank you all for, first of all, coming here, listening to us, asking the question, participating, and helping us, motivating us, and allowing us to show you our progress, and hopefully we'll kind of release the pressure, and your guys are a bit more comfortable with us, what we're doing, and I hope you actually see that we're doing real work that is just basically very hard to nail, and we really want to make the best dash cam we can make, nothing less.
We appreciate what you're doing, and do this again next month, and you'll get more inspiration.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
we already got one great idea from you. I hope you, when you think about it a bit, you'll give us some more.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think just keeping the social media pages, like showing your real work, that you guys are discussing with us, posting this video, but once we're done, but like I said, starting to get your word out there on Facebook or Instagram and start posting on a more consistent basis that shows that work. And maybe like, we can see you, we can see all 3 of you, right? And your team, we've seen at least 3 or 4 people just in the talk of this conversation. And I think using that and being in those pictures is just further evidence of what you guys are doing. So like, when you guys took those pictures in China, or, at a production center, show your team in there. It's only going to enhance, that you guys are on site doing this, because believe it or not, I think there are a lot of people here that, or maybe not even on this call, but agree that, some of these pictures could be, and I say this unfortunately, but, could be fabricated, could be just pulled up online. So you demonstrating, hey, this is Dried, we're out here putting your t-shirts, whatever you guys have, out there when you're going on site or doing these things is just going to enhance that marketing appeal that you guys are doing something like you guys have been saying.
Definitely.
That's just a friendly reminder.
Yeah, definitely take it into account. Yeah.
Good. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you all, and see you next month, right?
Yes.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.
Let's be hospitable and give everyone time to leave.
Mhm.